How's it going, everyone, and welcome to my channel. And today we're going to do 5 things from each of us, so 15 things total of things you don't do in Korea. And so today I brought in my friends, Johnny and Felicia.
Hello.
And I've asked each of them to compile a list of 5 things that you don't do in Korea. So we're going to rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first and share their list, and then we're going to kind of comment on each other's lists, talk about our experiences of why we put them down and whether or not that fits us as individuals.
Sounds good.
Okay, ready?
Alright, do rock, paper, scissors or 가위바위보?
가위바위보.
Okay.
Okay.
You wanna lead?
Okay. 안 내면 진다. 가위바위보. 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 가위바위보.
Oh, see, Johnny.
Go, you two.
Oh, we gotta
second.
가위바위보.
Oh, okay.
So you're last.
First, second, third.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 1, I put, you shouldn't expect people to hold the door open for you.
Yeah.
And not get mad when they don't, because
Yeah.
they won't. You can still do it. They
But
probably
you-
won't say thank you. They probably won't.
Or if you do it,
No, they
you'll
won't.
no. If you yourself do it,
Oh, yeah.
just expect to stand there for a while.
Oh, yes, everyone's gonna try to come in.
Yeah.
Maybe one person will say thank you, maybe.
Maybe.
Younger people around our age,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Older people, they do not care. And people our age, you'll also be following right behind them. They're gonna swing that door open, and that thing is gonna slam in your face.
Yeah.
So don't be mad when that happens.
Yeah.
Don't expect it, and you'll be fine.
Dude, a lot of the times, like, the older people, they also kind of expect you to open the
Yeah,
door
open
for
the
them.
door for
Because
them.
you'll hold open the door, and they'll just slide through and not give a...
Yeah, it'll be like a little gap.
Elbows,
They're like-
elbows out. I'm going.
Which is funny that you say old people just slinking into spaces, because my number 2 is
Okay.
you shouldn't be surprised when people cut in front of you, especially on the bus.
Yeah.
Or when you open the door.
Yeah.
Especially older people, or
Sliding in.
Subways are a battleground.
Oh, they really are.
Trying to get onto a subway and you're standing, everyone stands on their lines, but if there's an ajumma that is right there, she will go in front. As soon as that train goes, elbows up, and she will push her way through.
Yeah.
you can be lined up for 5 minutes waiting for the subway.
Yeah.
And no one there. You're the only one there. Some people behind you even. And as soon as the train starts coming, just people come in front of you, and they figure that little 3-inch gap that you left in front of you is for them.
Pretty much.
So yeah, don't be mad that's gonna happen, because that will happen. My number 3 is a combination of 2, but they're very similar. They have to do with public transportation. Number 1, I'm speaking from personal experience here. Something embarrassing that happened to me. It might not have happened to them, but definitely happened to me. There's a bus. The bus has 2 doors. There's an exit door in the middle and the entry door in the front. Don't go into the exit door when you're trying to get on the bus. You will get yelled at, probably. I got yelled at. I never made the mistake again. But the big open door is not the entrance. It's the front door that's the entrance.
Yeah.
And the second part to this has to do with taxis. Do not get out of the left side of a taxi, which is the driver's side. That's usually the side with traffic, and the taxi driver is going to freak out. He might not yell, but he'll probably freak out about like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Because drivers here are a little rambunctious.
A little oblivious.
Oblivious, ferocious, aggressive.
Yeah.
So as soon as that door comes up, that door is coming off
Yeah.
if there's a car driving by.
Usually they have it locked, but there are times where it's not locked, and if you try to open it, the taxi driver will get at you for it.
Is this 4? This is 4.
Yeah, I guess so.
Mainly happens in big cities, this one. This is another sneaking suspicion. This only happens to people that definitely look like they're foreigners. Like me.
Okay.
You might get invited to go to a tea ceremony in the subway or on the side of the street by people maybe roughly your age, maybe a little bit older, or if you're with a couple of your friends. I highly suggest you say no to that. No matter how hard they try, make sure you say no.
I have that here in my list too.
I think it's a cult, and I think they're gonna.
He thinks he knows.
Yeah, that's
know.
one
Well,
thing.
we
Don't
have a
join
friend
cult.
that I was with that got invited to it, and he went, unfortunately, and got stuck there.
Into a cult.
He was with me, and he was like, no, we're not going to these 2 people. What happens is you'll go to a tea ceremony or something religious, some sort of prayer, and then you're gonna get stuck there because they're gonna like guilt trip you, and then make you feel like you have to pay tidings.
Pay tidings? Tidings, yeah.
It's usually about $50 on my one. So the best thing you can do is just say you're busy and walk away.
Yeah.
You'll know because they're gonna be like, "Oh, are you new to Korea? Oh, you should come. You should come to our church or whatever." And immediately be like, "No, thank you. I got my own church in America or Europe or something." So yeah, be careful for that. It doesn't happen often. It only happened to me once, but it did happen. I don't think he's experienced it.
I've never experienced
She knows about it.
I've experienced it. Mine wasn't actually just like a tea ceremony. I wasn't approached by that. They were just like, would you like to learn about Korean culture? Would you like to try on some hanboks? All of this and like that whole shebang. And I was with my 2 other foreign friends, and they look very foreign in their appearance. And so, yeah, fresh into Korea. And we went to a hanbok fitting thing, and they were like, okay, come join us. Let's go to this like traditional music ceremony. And then like they asked for our phone numbers. For like 3 weeks. Like I had nonstop calls from them, and they would use different phone numbers and stuff, trying to get me to come. Nope.
They'll get you.
Hard pass.
So just say no. No tea ceremonies.
Yeah, no hanbok fittings. Even if they say it's free, don't.
Number 5. I actually have 6. We said 15, but this one, especially if you work here, especially if you want to be nice and you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, he's gonna say something, I'm pretty sure, that conflicts with what I'm saying, but that's okay. Experiences. Mine is, you're going to be offered a lot of food or drinks, especially with teachers, especially from coworkers, and maybe you don't want to eat, maybe you don't like what they're giving you. You should not be afraid to lie about allergies. That's what I do.
I said something else.
I don't drink, and I don't eat fish or cheese, and they love that stuff here. And so they keep sending them to me. I'm not allergic to them, but I say I am. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, no, I can't drink. I'm allergic. It'll make me sick. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Most of the time, though, they might be a little upset if you say no. But if you say you're allergic, everything's okay. So a little secret.
Going to say something different.
What?
No, I'm gonna say something different.
One of you, I'm pretty sure we talked about it too.
Alright, so things like in Korea, there's a lot of sharing culture that happens. And so whenever someone, like especially in school, if someone brings some food, it's quite difficult to like refuse something. And especially if you don't like it, a lot of people get their feelings hurt if you refuse it.
Yeah.
And so it's just, what I said was, don't refuse it. Just like take it, leave it there, like as if you're gonna take it home, but just get rid of it later. Like just accept the gift so that you don't hurt any feelings or anything.
Yeah, culturally Korea is very sharing. So if you decline an offer for something, it's like you're declining their friendship almost, or like their kindness. You're declining them, and so they take that as kind of like a sad thing. But if you accept it, or like do what Johnny does and give like in their eyes a valid excuse for why you can't take it, then it's much more culturally accepted that way.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a little white lie. I almost said whittle white lie.
A little white lie.
Whittle wabbit. And my bonus one that I think I've experienced more than these two, or I think I'm the only one that experienced this.
In this group, yeah.
A lot of you will experience this too, probably, especially if you live in smaller areas, more rural areas, or smaller towns. Do not make a big deal out of being stared at, because you will get stared at a lot. I've been on buses. Me and an old man, Ajashi, is the only one on the bus besides the driver. I'm sitting right here. Across the aisle, he's sitting right there too, because he just decided to sit there with me. And then he sits there, and he looks. And he looks for a long time, and I'm like, okay, let me just... Oh, he's still looking. I guess I can only look this direction for the rest of the bus ride. It'll happen a lot. On the streets, you'll have people walk and just... like that. A lot. But don't worry, it's okay. chances are you're the first maybe Westerner they've ever seen. Maybe Black, Latino, anything. They don't get a lot out of here besides a lot of East Asian, maybe Southeast Asian, especially in small towns, Southeast Asian. The only other time they've probably seen it is on TV. And so they see someone in real life, it's like a mythical creature. Yeah. And so I honestly like the attention. It's just weird to look back at them. So I just pretend I don't notice, but in my head I do notice because it's very hard to not notice someone going like this to you for a long time, especially on a 20-minute bus ride. So that's my number 6 one. Just do not make a big deal out of being stared at. People will stare at you, especially older people.
Even though like Korea is very like it's advancing really fast and it's getting a lot of attention and like a lot of people are coming in, but there's still a lot of places in Korea that are, it doesn't even have to be rural, but outside of Seoul and Busan where they don't have a lot of experiences with other foreigners, specifically like the Western foreigners. You might be the one and only opportunity for them to experience something that's not Korean. And unfortunately, that just means that they're gonna stare at you. And yeah, it really sucks. But it's gonna take a lot of time and progression for Korea for that to be normalized, for them to normalize experiencing other people. And as long as they don't do anything to hurt you, I think, you know, like physically, do your best, I think, to just kind of ignore it. And it's going to be difficult for sure, but it's something that you're going to have to learn how to deal with.
Yeah,
Most
100%.
likely, like, the Koreans staring at you are probably just thinking that you popped out of... They'll pop out of, like... They'll stare at you as if you popped out of a movie scene.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Johnny's done with his top 6 things you don't do in Korea.
Top 5 with the
Top
bonus
5.
1.
So
15 things only.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he took some of mine, so... The first thing I put was don't join a cult, which we've already established that. Yeah, don't join a cult. You'll get 3-week phone calls. Next one is don't wear your outside shoes inside the house or at school. This is very typical for Asian culture. You usually don't wear your outside shoes inside. You'll take them off at the door. Especially if you're like gonna visit some friends, Korean friends in Korean households. It's very important that you take your shoes off. And so that's a big one.
Although schools will vary, certain schools don't mind whether or not you have inside or outside schools. But,
Shoes.
Oh yeah, shoes. But most schools, I think, will make you change your shoes as well.
And with
like
that,
inside slippers.
if you need like a specific shoe size, there's not many big shoe sizes, and schools don't have that many like spare slippers. So bring your own slippers.
If you're a size like size 10?
Yeah, if you're a size 10 in the U.S.
9.5 U.S. is about their upper end. No, 10 is their upper end. Above 10, you'll be hard pressed to find new stuff. You might have to go to like bigger cities.
Or online.
And ladies, the biggest shoe size schools usually have for girl slippers are like size 7. So if you're bigger than that, get your own slippers.
But Will, what is an inside shoe?
It's an inside shoe. You have inside shoes.
How would they know the difference between an inside and an outside shoe?
Okay, inside shoes is shoes you only wear on the inside, and outside shoes is shoes that you can wear on the outside.
All right, if you're like sneakers that you wear outside.
But they would have to watch you outside with sneakers, right? Just wear slippers inside and you'll be fine.
No, because some people wear like slippers outside too.
Yeah.
But how are they gonna know the difference?
Okay,
Like
this
sandals.
one.
Yeah, I'm wearing my slippers on the outside right now. I don't wear these inside.
Yeah, but what if you do? Did they notice?
No. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but this one's a little funny because like, the cafeterias in schools are usually not in the same building as your school.
You have to walk outside
to
to
walk
get them.
outside with your inside shoes.
I don't understand
anyway.
it. And honestly, dress shoes, they call them gudu. Like a lot of the time, they'll just immediately assume those are outside shoes. Like, oh no, you need to change shoes.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay.
Just wear slippers. You're safe.
I think we've established enough.
Usually this is seen as an inside like shoe, okay, for whatever reason, and if it's closed toe, they'll think that's an outside shoe. That's just kind of the general mentality.
Unless like they look like fuzzy slippers
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
inside, or
Yeah,
like
true.
Crocs.
True.
Okay, next one. Number 3. Don't use Google Maps. Google Maps is not gonna work here in Korea.
Google
It's
Maps
really
trash, bro.
like, it just won't give you even any directions. Like, they'll give you transportation directions, but it'll take like the most roundabout way to get somewhere. Use these 2 wonderful map apps. They're called Kakao Maps and Neighbor Maps. Either one, they both have their pluses and their pros and cons, but yeah.
Google Maps is just they're not up to date with Korea's industry. Like, Korea's constantly changing a lot, and so they just don't have the access to the information here. I don't know if that's because they don't have the satellites here or whatever, but Google Maps just doesn't work here as well.
I think it's just because Korea likes to sort of have control with their own apps.
Yeah,
and
with their
everything.
own apps.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't say get rid of Google Maps, especially
Yeah.
if you plan on traveling the countries nearby Korea,
Yeah.
because a lot of
Yeah,
places
yeah.
like Japan, Google Maps
This is
king.
just
Fine. It's just
specifically
Korea.
for
Yeah.
Korea. So yeah, Kakao Maps, Neighbor Maps, and they have lots of information there too.
Yeah.
That's really helpful in the apps within it. Number 4. Don't stay home at wait, what was it? Don't stay at home all the time.
Oh.
Don't be a homebody. You're in Korea.
I'm a homebody, so I don't know, man.
Alright, what I mean by this is that Korea has such a great transportation system, and you have the ability to travel anywhere in Korea so easily. And like, there's KTX, there's buses. Just go out there and
There's a
on your
taxi.
weekends. Yeah, there's a taxi. Explore your own city,
Yeah.
but take the time to actually just explore. Yeah.
I will agree with that because, especially as teachers, the ones that I see burn out quickly or get homesick a lot are the ones that don't really explore anything outside of their like
Exactly.
comfort
That's-
zone.
Yeah.
But there's like a lot of people and a lot of different like language exchanges, like clubs and everything that really want like foreigners and everything, and
Yeah.
to meet and interact with people from all over the world. And you meet a lot of great people, a lot of great friends, and as soon as you make Korean friends, especially, that's when you really start like to explore Korea, because they know like the ins and outs of what to do and what is
Yeah.
hot or
Yeah.
fun to do around here. So
Yeah.
Like, you just really want to maximize your time here, especially because you don't know whether or not you're going to stay for just 1 year or continue on to be like 4 like me, but
Yeah.
just maximize your time.
yeah.
Number 5, we already touched up upon it. Ira said, don't reject food given to you, just suddenly get rid of it. So I'm not going to explain that a little bit
Or
more.
lie.
Yeah, or you could lie.
Is this fish?
Like, I
don't
guess
feel
in
so
my
good, I'm so
I
sorry.
guess in my case, like, what if they already know like you're not allergic, like, and
Then you
stuff, and
messed
you're
up.
just saying
Yeah, you
like
messed
this
up
This
with
is
the lie.
video is for you, not for her. Before you come here, get ready to
Exactly.
Learn how to lie.
like
Just,
you've
"Oh, I
already
feel so
you feel
sick."
so bad already because you're lying. Like, if these are for the people who can't lie, okay?
Yeah, this
No,
is
they
actually
love peer pressure here.
Yeah,
Lie.
this is actually why I'm like addicted to coffee now, because I don't say no.
Yeah.
They just give me coffee all the time. It's not a good thing.
So yeah, like, just don't reject it. Put it right there. Look at it. They'll be happy. Everyone's happy. You
Give
can
it
throw
to someone
away.
else.
Exactly. You could give it to someone else.
Give it to your students.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a good one. That's
yeah.
a good one.
Give
They
it to
love
your
that
students,
stuff.
yeah.
Especially the
Especially-
energy drinks.
Yeah.
The energy. I don't drink the energy drinks, but they
Yeah.
give them so much. I give it to a student. They're like,
They love
teacher, really?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, man,
It's like-
sure.
Yeah. And then my last one, I had a 6th one as well. Don't throw your trash randomly. Like, there's like a sorting system, but just get the designated garbage bags, and if you don't know what to do, at least they're in the designated garbage bag, so you just throw your trash in there. If not, there's CCTVs, and like for smaller areas, not really big cities, they can't really control that, but smaller areas you can get a fine, and so you just want to know how to throw away your trash.
Yeah, it's expensive. It's like
like-
5,000.
1,000?
5,000.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
5,000.
One or dollars?
No, $5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get caught, like they'll
Yeah.
fine you a lot of monies.
That's
So-
a lot of money.
So don't do it.
Don't
Just
do
don't do it.
It's your turn.
All right.
3 more from you, Will.
3 more. All right.
Do your 5.
All right, so my first one. So eye contact is kind of like different here compared to the States. Like, you ideally shouldn't be making like or holding eye contact with someone you're having conversation with.
Which is weird because you're like talking them straight in the eye and then you go serve and you're still talking.
Well, it's just like difference. Like in America, if you're making contact consistently through your conversation, it's like you're paying attention. It's how you actively pay attention to someone.
Yeah.
But here in Korea, it's kind of like one, you're either challenging them or kind of demeaning them, especially when you're making eye contact with someone who is of like higher status than you, like your vice principal or principal. It's like challenging to their status position.
Yeah.
So you can look at them. Like, it's not wrong to make eye contact with them, but just don't hold it forever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of weird anywhere, but you know.
Like,
Building upon that, especially if you're teachers and you're maybe talking to a student because they did something wrong, they're going to look down or look away.
Yeah.
Do not think they are disrespecting you by
Yeah.
not paying attention to you. They're doing the exact opposite
Yeah.
by like being very submissive to you. So.
Right.
yeah.
It's kind of like when a dog is like having their head down when
In
you're like
shame when you're
in shame.
yelling at them.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same concept. So when a student's like their heads are down and you're giving them a mouthful, that's why they're trying to be respectful to you.
That being said, when you're talking to someone, like, we're not saying not to make contact while you're just talking like this.
don't
Like,
do-
just
don't
Yeah, don't be weird.
like this. Don't be like this.
yeah,
Don't
don't be
do
like this.
this
I'm talking
either.
to you, Johnny, but I'm
Like it's fairly normal. Just don't be surprised if someone is making less eye contact than you're used to.
Yeah. All right. So my next one is don't give and receive with one hand. Ideally, you should be giving and receiving with two hands. There's like multiple ways to do it, like this. But basically,
That's a little extreme. I never do that. I'm someone that's. I'll give you my example. I just. Here we go. We got this.
yeah.
I just.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you could do
You
that.
can do that too.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
as long as it's like the
It
two
looks
hands
like an
are
effort.
initiated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
You'll.
But I'm just really like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we're very nonchalant
If
about
you
it.
do it like one hand like this, they're thinking you're just throwing it at them.
Yeah.
And so
It's not that you can do one hand. It's not necessarily rude as long as
Yeah.
you're like giving it to them like in a nice way. But if you want to be more respectful, you giving it with two hands or receiving it with two hands is to be more respectful.
Yeah.
But it's not saying that you're not respectful if you give and receive with one hand.
Especially if one of your hands is occupied, don't
Yeah.
feel like. It's different with the phone, but if
Yeah.
you have like a bag or something, they're not going to expect you to
Yeah.
bag it up.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm holding
yeah.
everything and then just having that.
Yeah, and along with that, like, pointing is kind of weird here too. They usually don't point at things, or if they point at things, they'll point with their middle finger. In America, we point with our pointer finger, but a lot of times, especially the older generation, they'll point with their middle finger. Like when they're reading or something, they'll read with
Yeah.
their middle finger, or doing other things.
It's
they'll
not
point
like
with their middle-
blatantly out. It's just
Yeah.
like kind of like a bent like
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of thing.
But that's something to notice. Like they're not trying to flip you off or anything. They're just pointing at something. My number 3 is don't eat before others are eating or before an elderly or someone who is of higher status than you eats. Like for example, at a Hwaseong, a lot of the times the co-workers there will wait until the vice principal or principal has their food and they start eating before they actually consume their food. And so that also applies to general hangouts with friends, of like Korean friends. They generally tend to wait until everyone has their food and then they'll kind of consume the food at the same time. It's just like Korean being a sharing culture.
the sharing culture, yeah.
Like they really enjoy just like group activities, and that just kind of falls in line with that.
Yeah.
And so they just do things that
Also, in Korea, there's a lot of picture taking culture. So that everyone usually just wants to wait for all the food to go together,
Oh, yeah,
and
to
so that
have
they
your
can
meals so they
take
can
the
pick-
picture
yeah, that
makes
and
sense.
everything. So
That
don't
makes sense
eat
too.
beforehand.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of community going on, and so usually just kind of wait and eat together as a community.
Yeah, but I will say, they will not play mind games with you. So if your vice principal comes up to you and is like, "Oh, start eating," don't think he's like tricking you into
Yeah,
testing
yeah,
your
yeah.
like knowledge of culture. Just
Yeah.
start eating. But if no one says it, just wait till everyone else starts eating, then eat, because
Yeah.
then you're assured not to upset anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, if your vice
It's
principal or
all-
principal is
yeah.
like, oh, why did you eat? Eat.
Yeah.
Just eat.
Yeah.
It's all about having nunchi, like a sense, you know?
Mm.
Yeah, you like
Social awareness.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much just like looking around and taking social cues from everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Perfect. My next one, number 4, is don't touch someone if you're not like acquainted or well acquainted with them or friends with them. So like in America, it's very common for guys to like give like bro punches and things like that, or just give like little pats on the backs and things like that to someone you kind of just met, or you're playing like a game of like sports with them. It's very common to do that sort of physical touching between someone you're not super friendly with. But here in Korea, unless you're like very friendly with them or you know them very well, it's really awkward for them to be touching you or having them be touched by you. Like for example, when I was at this language exchange, I've met this person for a couple weeks, but we were just acquainted, not really friendly, and I gave him a pat on the back and he like really shied away from it. Like he felt like really awkward about it. And,
Why are you coming to me?
which is like kind of different from me. Like even in America, if I've been acquainted with a person for like 2 weeks, even 1 good week, I can give them a little pat on the back and it'll be okay. But you know, because I'm not on that friend level that he sees as I am with him, he feels that that's really weird. And of course it's gonna range between individuals, so you just kind of have to test that out for yourself and see who's comfortable with what.
Yeah.
Nunchi.
And social awareness.
All right, and my last one is don't be weirded out or freaked out when people ask you for your age, your family history, your phone number, where you live,
Your job.
and
you're
your relationship
married,
status.
yes.
Yeah, definitely your relationship status. They're not trying to be creepy. It's just like a cultural thing that Koreans like to do and ask about you. I'm not too sure why they ask where you live, but I've been asked where I live by many Koreans, and it's not like they're trying to stalk you or anything. They just like want to know like the
What
general.
kind of neighborhood?
Yeah,
you're
the
in.
general area that you're living.
Yeah, I get that a lot actually with the neighborhood. Like once I say where I'm living,
Yeah.
like they're like, "Oh my gosh, what? Really? Like
Yeah.
you live there?"
Well, they'll be like,
it's
oh, my
unexpected.
friend lives there.
Yeah, or they just want to share something in
Cool.
common. as
Yeah.
well.
I'm
not sure.
Like, oh, I used to live there, or my friend lives there,
Yeah.
or like that's a good spot to live, or something like that.
I mean, they are basic introduction questions, not necessarily ones that we would use, like
Yeah. Back in
when
the
we're
States, yeah.
meeting people. But for here in Korea, that's how they start their conversations and base it off of that.
Except for the relationship thing.
Especially with the relationship. Hold on. Here's a relationship thing. First off, especially as you get a little bit older into your later 20s, you say, oh, I'm single. And they're like, what?
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 Why?
How dare you be
Oh,
single?
okay.
You can't be
okay,
single
hold
right
on.
now.
I know this boy. Like,
Oh,
do you
so
want to
many
go
people.
meet him? He can speak English. Like,
Oh, my friends have daughters. You should go.
Yeah,
I'm like,
oh.
no, it's fine. I can handle myself.
like, and they're like, oh, there's this teacher from this school. Would you like to meet him? Like,
It's like a crime to be single.
They love
Yeah.
actually. They
Especially
love
if you're,
pairing
like-
up other
yeah.
friends.
Oh, they do. It's
They
like
actually do.
it's a hobby of theirs.
yeah, especially Korean age. You're like 2 years or 1 year older than you. Like, once you've hit Korean age like 26, 27,
Yeah.
and that for us
That's
is
like-
like 24, 25.
Yeah.
Like, you're done for. They're gonna try matching you up.
That's
like,
Especially older people.
yeah.
It's your
Once
prime
they
marriage
hear-
age.
Yeah.
It's like, why aren't you getting ready?
Yikes. Yeah. So, I don't understand that one. Korea just is like a very big dating culture here, you know?
Yeah.
It's very
They
different.
want it to be. I don't
Yeah.
know if it is.
Yeah.
Not many people get married, but they would like to set up people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
All right. Anything else? Let me see.
Is that your 5?
That
my
was your
5, yeah.
final.
And like I
Wow.
said, this is your 17,
17.
17
Oh,
things
is it
not to
yeah,
do.
17.
5.
15
Five,
parentheses
12.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that was
Or
17.
half-halves.
15 plus 2 bonuses of
But we shared 2 of them. That's
Yeah, that's
15
why
things.
we shared. We shared a bunch.
of things don't do in Korea. To be honest, guys, like a lot of these cultural nuances and cultural things that we talk about not doing in Korea, it's gonna be things,
Situational?
Yeah, it's gonna be situational, and a lot of the times Koreans are the ones who are willing to hang out with you as a foreigner. They know that you're a foreigner, and they're gonna try to accommodate to you a lot.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times, even if you don't know these cultural nuances, they're gonna be very forgiving of it. And they do try to, again, accommodate to you as a foreigner a lot more than you would expect. And so even if you're not like, you know, bowing all the time or paying with two hands or drinking like hiding your face, other cultural nuances that you guys hear from maybe other videos or other sites and things like that, don't be too worried about it, because they are very forgiving, because they know that you are a foreigner.
Yeah. There's not that much of an expectation to follow all these rules.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, especially if you're not like intentionally negligent, like if they understand that you're just like oblivious, then you're fine. But if it looks like you're trying to disrespect the culture, that's when they get irritated or annoyed.
Yeah.
Don't just be careful of how you play your foreigner card here, to be honest. I mean, I get that, like, there are some parts of Korea that's very culturally different from your own, and you do, you know, want to not partake in it, but remember to respect that part as well. But outside of that, you know, they will be forgiving of you as a foreigner. That is our 15 things to not do in Korea. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed my two friends here, Felicia and Johnny. Felicia has a YouTube channel, so make sure you guys check that out in the comment section down below. Maybe Johnny will get one soon too.
Yeah, right?
You know?
Probably not.
He has very good information. And if you guys enjoyed this content or have any more questions or comments, make sure to post that down below. Hit the thumbs up if you guys like it. Subscribe. Until next time, peace out.
Bye-bye.